This is the first of a series of students that are going to present on a gene that we're studying in a course called Bioinformatics and Genomics. And this course has been really exciting for me because it's got a lot of potential to cross over with gamology, with statistics, with computer science, and we're learning a lot. So we've collaborated with Code, which is out of Hudson Alpha in Huntsville, Alabama, and they've given us an expensive bioinformatics program. Each student, it took 2 weeks for us to modify and work. Each student got a different variant, which is actually a mutation, but you really don't want to tell a parent that their child is a mutant. You can tell them that they have a variation, and it's a lot easier to take. So all of the students have taken this. It's the beginning of this semester, and they put together a poster. They've done a simulation, and I'm really proud of every single one of them. So I'm really excited to hear what Caleb and the others will have to say as the day goes on. So welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. My name is Caleb Hudson, and the title of my poster is Unraveling R44P, an SLC6A1 variant which induces childhood epilepsy. So we just threw a couple words at you, like SLC6A1 and R44P. And so what do they mean? Well, SLC6A1 is a gene in every human. I have it, you have it, and your dog might even have it. It's in a lot of animals. And it's good to have that. But the problem is when mutations come into play. And the mutation that we're focusing on today is R44P. And what each student has done in class is we selected a mutation of SLC6A1. And we've all we're crowdsourcing, we're tackling this SLC6A1 and trying to figure out which specific mutations of SLC6A1 are actually significant variants. And so the way we've done this is we have taken several sources such as ClinVar. Dr. Prokop created an Excel spreadsheet with a lot of information based on all the variants of SLC6A1. And we've been able to create, like I said, different graphs, such as this one right here. This is the variant impact. So the largest variant impact that we saw was around close to 160, and my variant ended up being around 55.4. And so what that means is it's right there in the middle. The specific variant was actually ranked as uncertain significance, but they didn't have the same information that we have been able to access. So we found that this variant is right here in the middle when it comes to overall variant impact. Along with that, we also have the 21 codon score, which is a compilation of several different scores that come together. And we've determined that the 21 codon score for R44P is right around 10. And the highest one we observed in there was around 25, which is once again, so 10 is right there close to the middle range of what it could be of all the variants that we have for SLC6A1. Another thing we've been able to do for these specific variants is create models for them. Like these right here. These were modeled in USARA. And what we've done right here, off in the distance, you can see that one was modeled inside a membrane. It's the first time that SLC6A1 has ever been modeled inside a membrane. And with these, what we've done is remove the membrane so you can better see what's going on. Right here in red, you'll notice my variant. It's right there at the very top. That's because it is a very early codon. So what R44P actually means is that at the 44th codon, arginine has been replaced with protein. And what that mutation has caused in this specific patient is myoclonic atonic epilepsy. So it's interesting that ClinVar actually listed R44P as a variant of uncertain significance. And I believe that the biggest reason they did that is because it's only been seen in one patient. But after observing all these results that we've created, we can see that R44P has, in fact, the myoclonic atonic epilepsy. And it also ranks right in the middle range for everything. Right here you can see that, it's hard to see from back there of course, but R44P is right here in red, and blue is the uncertain significance, which is the category that it was originally placed into. But when placed with this whisker box plot, you can notice that it's actually right there towards the end range of what the pathogenic variants are. And it's a trend that I noticed when I was creating these graphs, is that R44P is right there with all the other right there close to all the pathogenic variants, even right here with the amino acid carbon alpha RMSF. And with that one, it's actually better. It's actually better for not being significant if you're higher. So the benign patients actually rank much higher than the pathogenic patients. So what we've been able to determine from this is that R44P is most likely a significant variant, and from that we'll be able to use that and scale how other variants will come into play and see if they rank along the same lines as R44P. So for the future of SLC6A1, it's not likely that we'll be able to do anything like gene therapy because there's so many variants. As you can see from this one right here, there are close to 600 variants that we know about. So it's really hard to tackle this. It's really hard to go in and edit this one gene. There's so many different variants of it. But what we can do is we've been able to treat the symptoms of SLC6A1. And one of the biggest ways that we've done that is that Dr. Blair and Dr. Prokop have actually figured out that valproic acid, which is it's an anti-seizure medication. It's not normally used because it's a lot stronger than some of the other ones. But in this specific case, it's one that's actually worked and helped a lot of these patients. And so, like I said, in the future, we'll probably won't see very much gene editing with this, unless we can figure out one specific codon that links all of these one specific codon that's causing all of these other mutations to occur. Well, right now, we don't have that. There's going to be a lot more modeling that's going to be done. There's going to be a lot more modeling with drugs so that we can actually see which drugs are going to interact with these variants the best and see which ways that we can see what else we can actually do with SLC6A1. Some of the other symptoms might come into play with the genetic disorder of SLC6A1 is that someone might have slowed cognitive development, early onset seizures, and epileptic encephalopathy. So one other thing that's going to happen after we gain a lot more information about these specific variants is that once we figure out which ones are in fact pathogenic, we'll be able to catch these at birth. So as soon as the baby comes out, we'll be able to have them for testing and make sure that if they do have this, we can't guarantee that we're able to get rid of it because we still don't have that, but we will be able to figure out ways to make sure that they end up having a better life than they could have had without this information. Are there any questions?
You said that this variant, only one person can go with?
Yes, ma'am. Only one person has been submitted to claim bar with this variant.
You mentioned about the impact score that you calculated.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what that is? What is the impact on what? Function or?
The overall impact of how that variant is going to affect the individual. So you'll see up here. So the total, this right here is the total variant impact. It takes a compilation of all the different scores that have all different ways it has been scored, like the Z-score and the polyphen 1 and 2. The variant impact, it compiles all those together, and you can see like what the total variant impact score is.
Okay, so it's just calculating that. Okay.
Do you know on a newborn what would be testing for CBD?
No, I don't know.
Just to recap, so you said that originally they said that it was labeled as not very significant, but your numbers prove that it actually is because it's in the middle, but it's on the border of where it's actually pathogenic?
No, it was labeled as uncertain significance. So they believed that there was a possibility of it actually being pathogenic, but they didn't have the numbers yet to determine that it was in fact pathogenic. And a lot of the uncertain significant variants actually almost, like right here, it's hard to see of course, but the upper end of the uncertain significant variants actually go right up above the middle of the pathogenic variants on several different scores.